please tell us about your program? Describe it for us.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, David. And look, the Chamber's lucky. We have a unique vantage point. We have members in every sector and of every size. And through a great network of state and local chambers, we touch every geography. So we have put out a call to all of those members so that we can get their input, their questions, their concerns, to develop a framework so that we can guide both policymakers and businesses so they're ready to reopen.
And exactly how will the process work and how long will it take? Do you have any sense?
I think there's no precedent for this, right? There's no playbook either for the public health crisis or for the economic crisis. We know we're looking at new processes, that CEOs will have new restrictions, that there'll be new requirements, and even new risks. So every CEO is asking those questions. And in terms of how long it takes, the better we are at the planning phase, the faster that CEOs can move when they get the green light. Because we know what a job means to a family and to a community and to family health and to community health. And so if we do the right planning now, we'll be ready faster when we get the green light.
How does this fit together with what is going on at the White House? Because as I said, he has a group of White House officials, including his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. His daughter is involved, as I understand, in this. But then he has a large group of business executives that he said he's going to be consulting with. How does this all fit together?
Well, it's really terrific, right? The more minds we have at the table who can help figure this out, the better, right? Especially in something that's so unprecedented. The task force that the administration has put together is filled with phenomenal names across a bunch of sectors, a lot of our really good members and friends. And if you look at it, it's organized by sector. So in our work, which touches the whole economy, we've been working with the White House directly on the overall framework and guidelines, and then with our members in each of the sectors on the task force about the specifics.
As I understand it, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, where we've ended up after a bit of back and forth between the White House and some governors is President Trump will announce some guidelines for this, and then it'll be up to the governors to implement. Is that your understanding as well? Is that the way it should work?
David, I think you make the right exact point, which is that this is going to be a multi-layered path to recovery. And if you look at what we've seen in the past during this crisis, this is exactly what's happened. You've had federal guidelines and then local decision-making. So an example would be the White House defining essential businesses, the CDC then putting out guidelines about how you protect those essential workers, and then states implementing policies specific to their on-the-ground conditions. So it's exactly the playbook we've seen before, and we've seen it work.
Yeah, it's fascinating. At the same time, we have to be informed, obviously, about the healthcare professionals. And what we hear from them consistently, whether it's CDC or otherwise, is we need to have a lot more testing. Do you have a sense at the Chamber of whether that testing is around the corner?
Well, we certainly hope so, and we believe in the innovation of the companies hard at work at it. And as you see and report on, we see new innovations every day. I think the testing matters not only about the virus itself, but also about the serological testing that can tell us who's already immune. And if you think about getting back to work, the testing is important, the tracing is important, but then the next phase of what equipment are CEOs going to need? Are they going to need thermometers? Are we going to be passing out masks? Do we have to train people on how to use that equipment? All the way through, how is childcare and transit going to work in an era of, even when you get the yellow light to go back, the green light to go back, it's certainly going to mean, continued social distancing.
It's a fascinating point you make, Suzanne, because I don't think I certainly have started to think about all the various ways this could affect our lives going out into the future, at least until there's an effective vaccine that's widely distributed. We heard from Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, yesterday, just suggesting some of the things that could happen with restaurants, whereas you said you'd have a thermometer, you'd have disposable menus, you'd have tables spaced much more widely apart. That could permeate every part of American business.
I think that's right. And then there's the underlying consumer sentiment. When do people feel safe? When are they ready to return with demand? What happens with this pent-up demand? I think the place to be optimistic is that we're an innovative company. We're already a country, and we're already seeing ingenious solutions to these things. And I never count or bet against American entrepreneurs and what the ways that they will figure out to solve this problem. And that part's kind of the golden silver lining to watch.